biggest mistake that I see new cam models making, hands down, and it's cliche to say at this point almost, but in case the last person who hasn't heard this, the biggest mistake that new models make is not logging in enough. And this is, I have, by the way, I have no solution to this. I'm just doing awareness raising. But I thought I would talk a little bit about why I think that is and why it's so important. One, there are billions of people every day who do not log into campsites to be models, right? Almost everyone doesn't do that. And the one thing they all have in common is that they're not cam models. The same is true for someone who's made an account on one of those sites and never logs in. For all intents and purposes, you only exist in the cam world when you are online and broadcasting. Oh yeah, you build a persona and a stage name and social media and all those things, and you're known after a while, you exist, totally. But like day zero, to go from having never logged in to just logged in, you really don't exist. If you log in for 3 days, for 8 hours a day, and then you take a week off, you're completely back to not existing. No one's gonna remember you. Once you've been on a single site for months, regularly logging in, and let's say 15% of the actual user base of that site has started to see you, which is that's a really high number for anyone, then you disappear for a week and you come back, those people remember you. But like, no one remembers you after one thing. You just don't matter. And so like, one of the things that you have to do to make money camming and to get good at it, people need to remember that who you are and that you exist. They need to see you. This is one of the things that are super important. That's why we have the whole webcam side of it, so they can see you. But they need to see you not just once, but like, over and over and over again consistently. Customers, and a lot of sites, there are customers that tend towards new models, which tend to suck, those customers. Like there are people on any site that will see you're new, come into your room and try and spend all their time with you because they think you're naive and that they can get you to do things for free. But there's a lot of customers like that. We don't like them. Just get surprised. Then there are customers who kind of ignore new models entirely because they're the type of customers that they want to have a real thing going on. And so if it's your first day, they know intuitively, because they've been burned before, there's a high likelihood that your first day is your last day in camming. You just try it once, wasn't for you, and then you never log in again. And it's completely fair to do that, but like for that reason, there's lots of customers who just won't spend money on people when they're brand new, because they want to see, is this person going to stick it out? And if you're not, they're not interested. So seeing you online consistently, once the customers of the site start to get a sense, they're seeing your name, even if they're not coming to your room, they're seeing your name on the list of models who are online and things like that. Eventually they stop in and check it out. And a lot of times they're checking out a handful of times before they start spending money on you. And it's not necessarily that they're coming in and doing a long conversation. They might click into your room for a half a second and then click out. And like, this is how the sites operate. And so just showing up and being there makes you a candidate in a way that a lot of other people don't, because your name is being put on this site that hundreds of thousands of people are on the site going all around. Tens of thousands are seeing that name, whether they're clicking on you or not. They're scanning through all the pictures and you're just getting into their psyche. So every hour spent broadcasting, 50 to 100 plus people should be coming into your room. That represents like 4 or 5 times that amount that are going to be seeing your picture and your name in the small, tiny little space that it has on all the sites. And that just makes an impact over time. And you accumulate some sort of clout on the site by doing that. That gets you money. But the biggest thing is you just can't do private shows if you're not online. You can't make new customers if you're not online. And so a lot of people just don't put in enough hours. And so to those of us who have been in this a long time, to other successful models, the notion that someone new would start camming and want to make money from it, and not work insanely hard to do that, it's just laughable to us. Like, we just don't take people like that seriously at all. I don't. Pandora doesn't. The other models of Pandora doesn't. The sites don't. Like, you just don't really count that much. We don't evaluate you as someone that matters in the grand scheme of things, because like what you say you want to do on cam, cool. We know that like customers won't care about you until you put in the work. And so if you're not going to put in the work, customers won't care about you. As much as we might like you or think you're cool, in a market economy, if customers are spending no money on you, we're probably not going to have an ongoing relationship. Why would you keep coming to a thing that you're not making any money from? And so I see a lot of people, like, keep in mind, 7 hours in a week on cam is 7 hours of having live broadcast video to strangers on the internet who are responding to you and saying perverted things a lot of times. That's not nothing. And so when the reality is that to succeed at it, you need to do 20 hours of that a week or more. It's just really hard for a lot of people. And so the biggest mistake people make is they'll do 2 or 3 hours and go, that was a lot, and then go back about their life. Like, they just don't ever get into the habit of being on cam. Whereas the models who are successful on cam, being on cam is one of the main things they're doing in their whole existence. Like, the day a lot of time revolves around that happening. Because to get 20 or 30 hours in a week, you really need to make it. 20 to 30 hours a week on cam is not 20 to 30 hours a week sitting in an office or something like that, or working at Starbucks. Like 20 to 30 hours a week of live broadcasting, you're interacting with people, you're playing this whole game the whole time. It's a lot. It's hard. And you just have to be willing to do that hard part of it. Even when it's not going well, even when you haven't figured it out, even when you're confused and you're not sure what you should say or what you should do, like, you have to get over that early hump of not knowing what it is, not being comfortable with it, not understanding it. And once someone spent, let's say, 100 hours broadcast in a reasonable amount of time, like in a month or two, a lot of things start to click that, like, you figure out the way to make it work for you. And you just get comfortable with it in a way that you don't when you're brand new. You start to understand, here's these types of customers, here's these types of customers, here's these types of customers, here's how I get private shows, here, I know these people are going to be around. You start to develop regulars. So everything starts to get a little more, I don't want to say easy, but like the type of thing where, because you understand the environment and stuff, it gets more comfortable in a way. It gets more predictable, and that does nice things for your brain. Like, you relax a little bit and start to work it. All of it just takes time, broadcasting. And so, I don't want to discount the experiences of new models and say that if you have questions on your first day, you shouldn't ask them because you'll figure it out on your own 100 hours in. No, that's not it. Like, our job is to help people get through this myriad of difficult things. But one of the kind of underlying pieces of it is, if you will do the work, like be live broadcasting, then all of us, everyone that wants to help you succeed, has all the material sort of to work with at that point. Like, we can make adjustments to what you're doing, how you're broadcasting, how you're talking, how you're interacting with customers, etc. when you're doing it. We can't, like, if you're offline and not getting online and you're like, I want to be making more money, well, there's nothing we can do there. And so, I'll take time out of my day, any time, to someone who's putting in the work on cam, even if they don't work for me, to try and help them get it. Because, like, to me, the value of someone being good at camming is so huge. It's what our whole business is based on, and really the whole industry is based on. Most models, particularly people starting out in it, just don't realize how important you will become to customers if you succeed at this. And like how much those customers value that, and thus how much money is able to be made from that. A little bit cynical, yeah, sure, but customers take the sites very, very, very seriously. And so what we try to do is convey how seriously they take it to someone who's starting out and go, you have to take this at least as seriously as the people that you want to punch in their credit card and give you money, or else, it's just not going to work. You have to respect the customers and like what they're going to provide, and the big part of that is showing up for them. If you don't do that, you never succeed. You end up complaining about how camming's so hard and blah blah. You just have to put in the hours early on and figure out, like, if you do 100 hours in your first month, That's a lot. That's solid. You'll have built some habits around camming with that, and you can look at your stats 100 hours in after a month and go, okay, this is how much money I made. All right, where did that money come from? Who spent it? Is there a way I can, add more customers? Can I do more for the customers I have? Like, you have all these options once you're actually doing it, and it starts to make sense. You start to see opportunities to grow things and develop things and be creative, and it's exciting at that point for everyone. But like, until you do that, until you start to see, oh, this is what happens when I actually do it. It's just so easy to explain things in a negative way every time. Of like, if you're online for 2 hours and nothing happens, you don't make any sales. Well, the site's probably broken, the camming sucks, or I'm not pretty enough. Like, people do that all the time, and it's like, no. The best models in the game have hours where it just sucks and they're not making any money. Like, that happens all the time. That's just part of it. That doesn't mean you give up. That doesn't mean you quit. And so, like, the people who just commit to an hours amount and say, every week or every month or whatever, I'm going to be on cam for this many hours. It doesn't have to be an insane amount, but any amount of consistency. 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week. If you're going to be doing it full-time, 30 hours a week. Not many people work that much more than 30 hours a week consistently. You can work as many as you want, go ahead, but like, picking that amount and just, no matter what else comes up, that's the thing that's going to happen. That's your work, and that's what you do. You don't put it behind everything else, and if someone wants to go see a movie, sure, I'll go see a movie because work can wait. If you'll actually do it, have a schedule and commit to it, then at the end of the year, even if you're only like 90% good, like, you'll still miss days or stuff because something comes up that is an actual thing, totally. But if you hit it most of the time, an actual schedule that you keep, you will end up so far ahead of everyone at the end of the year, or at least not ahead of everyone, so far ahead of where you would have been. Because the models who just log in when they feel like it, when they decide to, in the best cases, end up broadcasting 200 to 300 hours a year. Okay? The models who just have a schedule and stick to it, even if they sometimes miss it because things come up, they end up broadcasting 800 to 1,000 hours a year. The difference in that in money is someone who makes $10,000 a year versus someone who makes $100,000 a year. Because that person who's online that much is reaping all of these benefits of, I think I have to sneeze. It's reaping all these benefits of, customer loyalty that they get because they're online a lot. And customers who are spending a lot of time on the site, they go, okay, I can hang with this person, and they won't abandon me because they're consistent and they're regular. And so they spend their $50 to $100 a month on that person because they're getting more video time out of it. The customers who want to have big long-term relationships where they're spending a lot doing private shows regularly and exploring some whatever it is for them, some fetish, some role play, some relationship they want to have, etc. They will give their money to those models because they go, I know I'll have enough time to do it. Whatever my thing that I have to do is, I'll have enough time with this person because they'll be online. They're not always missing shifts and not around and taking days off where I can't find them. Do you have any idea of when a customer gets attached to a new model, how frustrating it is for them when they show up Monday, have the time of their life, and they're just completely smitten with you, then Tuesday they show back up and you're not there. They have no way to get in touch with you, and they're like, oh, I thought last night was really special. Did she or he not really think it was special? And then Wednesday goes by, and you log in 9 days later because that's when you got around to it. They hate your guts at that point. You've abandoned them in their hour of need. And that's just how it works for customers. That's the experience they have, and you have to, if you don't acknowledge that, most people are completely unaware of that, but once you're aware of that, if you acknowledge it and you respect it, you win customers. If you don't, you lose them. And I'll tell you, there are plenty of other models who will happily take your customers and make all the money. So that's up to you how you want to handle that. But the biggest mistake is not putting in those hours, not being available, not being online. And there's no remedy for it besides being online, log in, end this video if you've been trying to cam and get good at it, or you want to succeed, it's a thing you really want to do, just put in 8-hour days for the next 20 days, and people will know who you are, and you'll know a lot more about what your potential is in camming at the end of that. The audacity that I think it takes to say, I want to, sit in my room on my computer on webcam and get people to give me money because I'm attractive. and they do, and they will, but like to think that it should just be that easy, and that there isn't actually some hard work or some strings attached to come along with that of you needing to put in effort. I don't like that attitude at all. So and that's not that common with models who don't log in. I think it's just fear and uncertainty and worry. It's like the other side. It's not entitlement. It's thinking you don't deserve to succeed at this and stuff. So like, you know, we all have our feelings about everything. I don't even want to say that I respect it because I'm brushing it off, so that's not being respectful. But like, it doesn't matter on the site, you know, how you feel about anything. If you'll just get online, your mood changes over time. Your feelings about things will shift as you learn more information about it. You can then start to have an informed opinion about what it means to you and how it's going to work for you and how you want to approach it and all those things. But on your first day, like first couple of weeks, you don't know anything. Even if you watched every video I've ever put out, every article I've ever written, you've spent, I mean, I guess if you watch all those and you've spent a lot of time watching campsites, you know a bit, but like, no one really knows how it affects them until they do it. So try it, but like, try it sincerely, because I'll tell you, people have a very different experience when they're successful versus when they're not. And so I know models that really didn't like camming when they were making $500 a month, that it's this magical and amazing thing when they're making $5,000 a month. Because like, wow, because the things that have to happen to click with customers, it's just cool. Like it works. Like customers tend to like you if they're spending a lot of money on you. And when people like you and are nice to you and give you money, you tend not to really hate them that much. Like they're okay. It's sort of a pleasant interaction a lot of the time. And you just got to get to a level to have that before you start to learn that. And it's a mire in between there of like, it's hard to get there. It's a lot of hard work. But like, good. If it was easy, we wouldn't make any money. Like if it was easy, the margins would be so thin that so many people would be doing it that it would be a waste of time. That it's so incredibly hard to succeed at is what makes it valuable. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it cool. It's what makes it worth doing. And so work really, 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 really hard, and you might have a chance at succeeding. Thanks.